why do I keep relapsing and how do I stop? By the end of this video, you'll have some better ideas of how you can stop relapsing and finally be able to quit weed for good. So a lot of people come to me and they're in this vicious cycle of addiction. I understand, I've been there before. And they're just not able to quit because they keep relapsing. So today we're gonna go over a few of the ways that you can start to shift your mindset around relapse and the quitting weed process so that you're able to actually be able to accomplish it. And this is what I work with people on, is having those mindset shifts that allow them to see it from a different vantage point and not put so much pressure on themselves. Like, I gotta do it all today, for example. So I just sent out an email about this, and if you haven't already, you can get on my email list by clicking the couple links down below. The first one, you're gonna get a free How to Get Sober PDF guide with 7 different tips and tricks that you can use right now to start getting sober. And then the next thing is that you can get the Recovery Resource Guide, which is gonna have over 30 different resources ranging from meetings to books to movies that are gonna give you inspiration and help you on the quitting process, right? Most of these are free as well, so you don't have to worry about spending any money, which is, a huge plus, especially in those beginning stages of quitting addiction. So the first mistake I made when I was trying to get sober and quit marijuana and why I kept relapsing is that I would try to go from 100 to 0 way too quick, right? Just slam on the brakes and think that I was just gonna gracefully stop and ease into recovery. No, I had been smoking all day, every day. And so the times I did try to quit was that I was just like, I'm gonna stop right now. And I commend you guys for having that enthusiasm, right? What I see a lot of people, it's too much for their system and it's too much of a shock and can actually put one in trauma because one, they think that, okay, I can't do this anymore because I tried going cold turkey and it didn't work, right? Little do they know, though, that it's because they're going from way too much cannabis to 0 cannabis, just like that. So the people that I find successful in this are the ones that take some time, maybe a month, a few weeks, even a couple months, to start weaning off slowly, right? To where they're not smoking that often. It's more just of an annoyance and a nuance at this point. And so that's what I did too. Like, I tried to stop cold turkey from smoking dabs every day or smoking 3 joints every morning. So I went from smoking every day to only in the evenings to every other day to every couple of days to every 3 days, right? And by then, I had been living most of my life sober. So then when you do go cold turkey finally, because to get sober, you have to go cold turkey, it's a lot easier of a transition and a lot less painful too. The next mistake I made, and what I see some people make too, is that believing that life is just gonna get magically 100% better. I thought I was gonna become super successful, all my dreams are gonna come true, I quit weed and just start making bank. And of course, this is not the case. Like, all of these things take time, many years in fact. And so for me, I had a false expectation of what reality would be like when I quit. And when I realized that my life isn't gonna look like this right away, I felt a lot of depression and I didn't know how to handle those emotions. So what would I do? Naturally, I would turn back to the first thing I could think of that would give me relief from that pain, and that was marijuana. This is a bit of a truth in our society, so in no way is this a judgment towards you if this is you. A lot of folks though, and I was one of those people, are not very tough. They don't know really how to handle difficult emotions because we've had a very easy life. When you look at it, we haven't had to go out and hunt stuff. We have conveniences like within the snap of our fingers. So a lot of us haven't dealt with having to really face difficulty before. And so this is a big thing that holds a lot of people back, is that inability to face pain and face tough times and situations. There's a good saying it's hard times create strong people. Strong people create good times. Good times create weak people. Weak people create hard times. So we're in a bit of a cycle where we've had a lot of good times and now a lot of folks have gone weak and are creating now difficult times, hence why you might be watching this channel. So that leads to the next point here on why you might be relapsing, is that you're unable at this point to sit with difficult emotions. And this is probably one of the hardest and most common things I see with people that are trying to quit, is that they are unable to feel the pain of the withdrawal, right? They want relief from it. And of course, the only way they can get relief is through the smoking more marijuana, which perpetuates that cycle. So really, I think a good thing to focus on is, okay, how can I be mentally tough? How can I start training my tolerance to face painful emotions? A few things that you can do, and this is going to lead into the next point here, are one, starting to exercise and be physically fit. The next point is that a lot of folks, the reason why they aren't able to stay sober and they keep relapsing is because they're not taking care of themselves on a physical level, spiritually and mentally, right? Like they're really just laying in bed hoping that the weed withdrawals will go away. And that, I mean, I won't lie, that sounds brutal. For me, I had to get out and start exercising right away. Be going to the gym, right? If it was in the evening and I really wanted to smoke weed, go to the gym and get a good workout in. By the time that workout was over and I'd come home, I didn't want to smoke anymore because I got a little bit of an endorphin rush through the exercise, right? And I felt good about myself too. I'm like, okay, I did something very positive for myself. So in that case, then I could go to bed and make it to the next day. Running is also a really good one too, like really learning to breathe heavy and taking that air, like when you smoke a joint or whatever. Building up your cardiovascular system, right? That's going to help you face difficult emotions. It's also just going to help you face pain, right? Because exercising isn't always the most pleasant thing, like it can hurt. And so you doing that is basically you choosing to face pain consciously, right? And this is only going to strengthen your discipline muscle and your tolerance towards difficult situations and emotions. The next thing would be to meditate, right? Learn to sit with those emotions in purposely. I started meditating about 2 days before I quit marijuana. And I think there was a big correlation there. That was almost 8 years ago. So coming up on 7 years and 10 months, which is freaking crazy. About this time, 8 years ago, I was starting to do these things, starting to exercise, starting to wean off, pick up spiritual books, right? I wasn't meditating quite yet because I hadn't, like I said, it was only a couple days before I quit that I started meditation. However, I was starting to consume some more like content related to spirituality and stuff. So I knew that this might be something I need to try. As well with this, it's eating healthy, right? This is gonna do a couple things, making sure you're eating whole foods, getting rid of the processed foods. You can have a cheat meal here and there, I still do, like once a week. But I don't make it a consistent part of my diet because I find that if I do eat crappy food, I feel crappy. And especially when you're in the withdrawal process and going through that like desire to relapse, like the more happy you can be like without the weed, the better. And so you kind of have to like kind of trick yourself a bit into finding happiness in other areas. So that's where the exercise comes in. That's where eating healthy comes in, making sure you're at the highest level of dopamine, serotonin, and oxytocin that you can possibly be at that point as you're coming off weed, because it's a very painful process, as we know, right? And basically it's right, you want to give yourself the best opportunity to win. So implementing these things, and I've seen this with people I've consulted, has allowed them to finally break through and stop relapsing and quit for good. The other thing with eating healthy too is sometimes it can be painful, especially like eating a salad for me like is like a chore. Like it takes effort. So again, it's facing that discomfort and that pain and that wanting to eat something that's like, fatty and delicious. I'm choosing to consciously eat something that doesn't quite tickle my taste buds the way I'd like, and because I'm a bit of a foodie too. So implementing these things, I think, will really help you start to be able to reduce the relapse cycles and finally be able to break out of it for good. Again, if you need some one-on-one support and accountability, you can hit the link down below to schedule a consult with me. And other than that, we'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.